Okay, the other day we talked about functions. Somebody remind me what a function is. A line is a kind of function.
That's when one x input has one output.
Yes.
To be a function, one x input gets exactly one y output. That was our rule for functions. One input gets exactly one output. So if you plug x in, if you plug a number in for x, how many answers do you get? One. You always get one answer. Now, quite often in situations, people have more than one function at a time. So there's two functions. In a business world, one of those functions might be supply and one of them might be demand. Which is which?
The high number would be the
You have a 50-50 chance of being right.
The negative for x1 is the demand, and then the top is the supply.
How come?
Because demand goes down and supply goes up.
Alright, so if you were to graph these, typically the first one has a y-intercept of 0, 3, and then its slope is 2, so it goes up, like so. And the second one has a y-intercept of 0, 10, which is up here somewhere, and its slope is -4, so it comes down very fast. Traditionally, demand is the one that's decreasing, and supply is the one that's increasing. How come? What's X stand for in this? Usually when you're dealing with supply and demand,
money.
X is money. So when the cost goes up,
It's price times quantity.
price times quantity.
Or price. The y is price and the x is quantity.
Other way around. X is price, Y is quantity. So when the price goes up, do more people want to buy something? Usually not. So when the price goes up, the supply, the demand, how much people want, is going to go down. And if fewer people are buying something, what happens to the supply? It goes up. Correct? Now, if I had written these this way, which one is supply and which one is demand? It would be a very safe guess that S stands for supply and V stands for demand. All right, this is known as function notation. It's used a lot because in a lot of situations we do deal with more than one function at a time. So what this symbol means, d parenthesis x, this symbol means our function is called d, and our input variable is x.
Now, is it always if we get or when we get into doing questions like this, is x always going to be the price, y will always be the quantity?
If you're dealing with supply and demand, yes. But most of our examples probably won't deal with supply and demand, so x and y will be different things. But now, this notation can be a little bit confusing because most of the time when you see a round parenthesis like this, what does it mean to you? It usually means multiply. You do inside the parentheses first, and then this round parenthesis usually is a symbol for multiply. When we're dealing with functions, that round parenthesis is not a symbol for multiply. It's just saying this is the name of our function, This is what we're using for an input. All right, so for example, we've been doing this a lot. I might give you an equation like y equals 3x plus 2. And I might ask you to build a table. And I would say, pick your favorite numbers in the whole wide world and plug them in. And you would tell me your favorite numbers in the whole wide world are 0. 2 more numbers. 12.
-4.
-4. Those are your 3 favorite numbers in the whole wide world. Okay. You plug 0 in. What do you get when you plug 0 in? 2. What do you get when you plug 12 in? 36 plus 2 is 38. And you plug in -4. -10. I'm going to do this exact same problem, except I'm going to use function notation. So instead of calling it y, quite often we call it f of x. And then if I want to tell you plug 0 into that function, the symbol I write is this. That symbol means don't use the letter x anymore. Instead of using the letter x, you're using 0. So you plug 0 in. What do you get when you plug in 0? 2. What would that symbol mean? F of 12. And what does it mean to do? Use plug 12 in for x. Does it mean multiply anything by 12? No. It looks like multiply though, doesn't it? Confusing symbol. It means plug 12 in. When you plug 12 in? 3 times 12 plus 2, which we already decided was 38. And finally this symbol. That means 3 times -4 plus 2, which is -10. That symbol means everywhere you see the letter x, don't write x anymore, plug in -4. Questions on that? G of x equals x squared minus 2x plus 3. Is that a function? No, why not? You have 2 outputs?
2 inputs.
2 inputs. Okay, so pick a number that you like for x.
2.
2. So if I ask you to plug 2 into that that equation, can't call it a function yet, how many answers do you get? You just get 1 answer. So is it a function?
No. Or yeah.
Yeah. If I pick an x number, if I pick a number like 2, and I plug it in, how many answers do I get? 1. That makes it a function. All right, well, what would the answer be? What do you get when you plug in 2? 3, because you would have 2 squared minus 2 times 2 plus 3. That symbol means wherever you see the letter x, don't write x anymore. Write 2. So this time there was an x here and an x there, so I had to plug the number 2 in 2 spots. And I agree, that comes out to be 3 because it's 4 minus 4 plus 3. What would that symbol mean to do? Wherever you see an x, don't write x anymore, right? -3. And again, be very careful. When you plug in negative numbers, I strongly suggest that you put them in parentheses so that you get your order of operations correct. Especially if you're going to use your calculator. What's -3 quantity squared? 9. Plus 6. Plus 3. The answer is 18. Questions on that? Okay. What if I wrote that symbol? G parenthesis 4a. Everywhere you see an X, you're not going to write X, you're going to write 4a. So you're going to have 4a, and you have to square that. Minus 2 times 4a plus 3. That's what that symbol would mean. Symbol would mean don't write the letter X anymore. Every time you saw the letter X, write 4a. Could you simplify that?
Sure.
Sure. What would you get when you simplify it?
16a squared minus 8a plus 3.
16a squared minus 8a plus 3. Questions on that? What if I wrote this symbol? What would that symbol mean to do? Wherever you see the letter X, don't write the letter X anymore, right? Cat, right? C-A-T. So that would be cat squared minus 2 times cat plus 3. I have no idea what that means, but that's what that symbol would tell me to do. That symbol would tell me don't write the letter X anymore. Wherever you see X, write cat. What's that?
There was a book I read back in like middle school where the 3rd grade teacher told people how to add with numbers. And it was just like this. It was kind of hilarious, actually.
Oh. Well, I don't know how you do cat squared. That's the one that scares me. 2 times cat, that's not so bad. 2 cats, that I get. I don't know what cat times cat is, though. Oh.
Crazy cat lady.
Crazy cat lady. Huh? Okay.
Maybe crazy cat.
Crazy cat lady plus 3. Okay, what if, let's do a new function. F of x is 2x minus 5. Once again, that symbol would tell you to do what?
Plug that forward.
Plug that 4 in where? For that x. So this one is 2 times 4 minus 5, which is 3. What if I wrote that symbol?
Same thing.
You would replace it for both, right?
No?
It would just be.
Wouldn't just wouldn't you see F of that?
There's no
F of 4.
If you plug it in once you divide by whatever the number is.
Here's what I've done to you. What I did for the first problem,
I can't see.
instead of writing the symbol f of x, we could write y equals 2x minus 5. So this symbol means what?
Y equals 4.
Well, this first symbol means
Means that equals right.
x equals 4.
Right.
And we plugged in x equals 4, we got 3. This symbol means y equals 4, and what do you need to do? Figure out x. And it's a little bit harder. If y is 4, how would you figure out x?
Solve
You would have to
it.
solve.
Isolate and all this stuff.
Yeah, isolate and all that stuff. So basically what I'm asking you with this symbol is the y number is now the number 4, and I want you to find the x number. And so you would have to solve the equation 2x minus 5 equals 4
Good X.
to get x. And how would you find that? Add the 5, divide by 2. So the answer would be 9 halves.
That's annoying.
Kinda, yeah.
So we. How did you do that again?
How did I do what?
How did you find the y again? How
Good.
did you find out that it was 9 halves?
How, well, this symbol is the same as saying y equals 4.
Yeah.
So that gave me this equation. I plug 4 in for the y number.
And then just solve the equation.
And this also I added 5
All right.
divided by 2. Okay, so f of x is, how about, oh, we haven't used fractions yet, have we? Hell, we need some fractions. 3/2 x minus 4. That is linear, very good. How do you know that's linear?
Screwing with the x.
There's nothing screwing with the x. Well, that's one way to put it. I would prefer you tell me
MS plus B.
it's mx plus b form.
Same thing.
Same thing. All right. All right, so I'm going to give you some symbols. I want f at 2, f of x equals 2, f at negative 3, f of x equals negative 3. This first symbol, f parenthesis 2, what does that symbol mean? It means the x number is the number 2, and all I have to do is plug it in. So this symbol means x equals 2, what's the y number? All right, so I plug 2 in. I would have 3/2 times 2 minus 4. What's 3/2 times 2? 6/2, which is a fancy way of saying 3, and 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Conversely, what does this symbol mean?
Would you just put equals 2 at the end of the equation and solve?
Correct. This symbol means y equals 2, and you have to find the x number for me. Okay, so you need to recognize the difference in the two symbols. They look pretty similar, but they mean very, very different things. So this one means 3/2 x minus 4 equals 2. 2 is my y number, and now I have to figure out the x number. How would you get x all by itself? At 4. 3/2 x is 6 when I add 4 to both sides. And then you get the x all by itself?
You divide.
Divide by 3.
No, you would multiply 3/2 by 3/2 and then do it on the other side.
Close.
Multiply by reciprocal.
Multiply by
Reciprocal.
2/3. I could either divide by 3/2, or I can multiply by the reciprocal. And I prefer to multiply rather than divide. X is
4.
4, because I reduce. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, how about this one? F parenthesis negative 3.
Same thing, you substitute the x for the negative.
This one means substitute the x in. Alright, so I'm going to have 3/2 times negative 3 minus 4. What's 3/2 times negative 3?
9/2.
Negative 9/2 minus 4. Think of 4 as being 4 over 1. What do you need to do in order to subtract two fractions? Common denominator. So how about minus 9/2 minus 8/2? That one turns out to be negative 17/2. Negative 9 minus 8 is negative 17.
Is it okay if we turn those into whole numbers or does that can turn back into a fraction?
I'm not sure how you would switch them into whole numbers.
Well, negative 9 and 2, that's what? 8.5?
8.5 isn't a whole number.
Well, 8.5.
8.5 isn't a whole number. What are the whole numbers?
Well, sorry, use the integer for stuff.
It's not an integer either. Whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. No, you should not be turning things into decimals and combining them. You should be working with fractions. You should have a calculator that has a fraction button on it. Almost every calculator I see in this room, I see has a fraction button on it. If you're not good with adding and subtracting fractions, use your calculator. Use that fraction button. If you don't know how to do that, see me, and I'll show you how to use your calculator. All right, finally, this last symbol, it means
Oh, wait a minute, what is the final answer for the?
negative 17 halves was our final answer. What does this symbol mean? F of x equals negative 3?
Looking for the y.
No, negative 3.
Looking for the
So y is negative 3.
y is negative 3. We're looking for the x. So we have 3 halves x minus 4 equals negative 3. We add the 4 to both sides. 3 halves x is 1. And then we do the same trick again. We flip and multiply. So this one would say x is 2/3. Questions?